So I've been banging on about the fact that you need to sell yourself on your resume. It's a sales document. It is you on paper. It is an advertisement that should say, hire me. Look at what I've done. I am fantastic. So how do we actually go about selling yourself? How do you actually make that happen? Well, let me give you an example. I'm going to give you an example from a candidate that I met with a couple of years ago who wasn't selling herself very well, but when we put her mind to it, she was able to really sell herself extremely well on her resume. So this was the candidate here. This is how they describe their recent role as per their resume. So she had here that she was a sales representative person, and I've changed the company to ABC Company. She worked there for 3 years, and she put in her first dot point. She was a salesperson for the company for 3 years, and she sold goods, traveled to meet customers and keep them happy. So that's how she described her most recent role at the time and what she was actually doing. This particular candidate was quite lucky that they actually got a phone call. Normally, if your resume is that brief, you're lucky to get a phone call. But mainly based on her tenure, working in sales as a sales rep for 3 years is a good tenure. So we called the candidate, and I had a chat with her on the phone. Started off with that question: "Tell me a little bit about yourself." She had a great elevator pitch prepared, and she sounded really good. She said quite a few things that interested me, and so I brought her in for an interview. Then sitting down with her at interview, I learned so much more about what she'd done in the role. Not only did I learn about what she'd done in the role, but I learned about her amazing achievements. She had made some achievements in this role that I had, almost couldn't believe. So I worked with her very closely, and this is what we did with her resume. So this is the before. This is how she described her job before, and this is how we described it afterwards. So let me take you through it. Again, this is the exact same job. So you'll see, firstly, as we've said before, we've divided into two categories. We've got primary responsibility in a bold heading that is easy to read. Down the bottom, we've got achievements in a bold heading that's easy to read. We've got dot points here. None of them are more than one line long. Again, it makes it really easy to achieve. Look at that first dot point. Maintain regular contact with a large portfolio of business clients. So even just by reading that dot point, I have got a great idea in terms of what she did. It gives me a sense straight away. She was looking after a large portfolio of business clients. Dot point 2, discuss current infrastructure, networking, internet, and phone requirements with clients. Dot point 3, receive and resolve outages and connection problems in liaison with internal technical support team. So we've given a really great description here of the primary responsibilities. The third one from the bottom there, attend at least 3 new business appointments per day. Wherever you can on your resume, it is great to quantify things. What quantify means is putting a number to something. So on this resume, she has said she attended 3 new business appointments per day. That, to me, again, a great sense of what she's done. I can picture that. She goes to 3 appointments every day to win business. That means she does 15 a week. That means she does about 60 a month. That means she does 600 or 700 per year. If she just put on her resume there, again, third last dot point under primary responsibilities, attend new business appointments, I don't know whether that's 1 a day, 1 a week, 1 a month, or 1 a year. So let's quantify it. But what I like the most here, and what got me hooked on this candidate, was her achievements. She was the salesperson of the year in 2014. Now, this was not a small sales team. Sales is a very results-driven role. If you have been a salesperson of the year, it is a wonderful achievement. So here, she is salesperson of the year, 2014. But if we look at her previous resume, this one here, she's not salesperson of the year. There's no mention of it there. How am I to know as the recruiter that she has these achievements if they're not listed? Her other achievements, so she consistently met KPIs, including new client visits, products sold, and gross profit. She helped increase product sales in Melbourne from 400 to 800,000 in 2 years, and she was asked to help train and mentor new sales representatives. Now, for being Salesperson of the Year in 2014, this person was given a brand new car. That is how well she did at selling. She was given a brand new car for being Salesperson of the Year. But on the first version of her resume that she sent me, she did not list she was Salesperson of the Year. I don't want you to assume that the person reading your resume knows anything at all. They don't know about your organization. They don't know what your job was. They certainly do not know what your achievements may or may not have been. With achievements, you need to be really explicit here in listing what your achievements are. So when we talk about selling ourselves on resume and we talk about selling our experience, this is exactly what we mean. So go away with your most recent role or two and think again specifically along the lines of your achievements. What achievements can you list that can really help your resume stand out? The next step is to make sure that our resume is visually appealing. Your resume does not need to be black words on white paper in Times New Roman font. Absolutely not anymore. I'm seeing more and more candidates use resumes that include some graphic design elements. And let me tell you, if you're reading 100 or 200 resumes in a day, most of them are black words on white paper. So when you see one that's graphically designed, it really does stand out. So we've provided you on your candidate coaching platform with some templates that have some basic graphic design. But if you really want to step things up a little bit, I'd recommend that you go to canva.com.au. What I'm going to show you here is available on a free account. I do subscribe because I use it a lot, but it is free for you to do what I'm going to show you now. So simply up here, we can put in what we want to design today, which is a resume. So let's type that in. And as you'll see, what loads up below is a countless number of resume templates. You'll see here we've got different design styles. Many of them have color. Quite a few are using photos or logo or other elements of design. So find one, I guess, that you feel most comfortable with. You can download any of them for free. But if we wanted to use this one, we simply select it. It loads up for us. And then we can start editing our details. So we zoom in and we change everything that's on the resume to reflect us. So I put my name here, James Whitcomb. I need to change the font size there. But I continue just to work through the document now and change the about me, the experience, the contact details, the education to make sure that it's got everything on it that is really going to represent me really well. I've chosen a design I'm very happy with. The only thing to be aware of with Canva is that you can't save as a Word document. You need to save it as a PDF. So if you're applying for a role and it does ask you to save the role, to apply with a Word document, you won't be able to use Canva. But for any other role, I would recommend that you use it. And look, my personal preference is to submit a resume via PDF. I feel that it looks a more completed, more professionalized document.
I think it's really tricky trying to sometimes make your resume really pop. Some of the best resumes I've seen, I think, have they use the organisation's logo. So again, it sort of straight away gives you a sort of a visual image of the organisations that they've worked with. But I think the layout and use of sort of visual imagery is really important when it really to sort of make it stand out.
If you want to take it to the next level, start using more examples through your resume. Make sure that it's really, really tailored on a per application basis. So if you're applying for 3 different roles within sales, one might be a coordinator, one might be an administrator, and one might be a consultant, make sure that you fine tune your resume to reflect each of those opportunities. The more bespoke you can make your resume to that specific tangible role, the better opportunity there is for a match.
The final step and the most important step, apart from selling yourself, is to tailor your resume for every single application. Throughout all of my coaching, I'm very consistent with all of my candidates on the rule that you need to be spending at least 2 hours on every application. The reason being is I want you to read and understand each advertisement that you're applying for, and I want you to look for ways to tailor your resumes to speak to that specific vacancy. Let me show you what I mean. We're going to have a look now at 2 roles I found on seek.com.au that are both for customer service positions. Now, being customer service positions, you might think, hey, if I've got a customer service resume, that's fine. I might just go ahead and submit it to both roles. Well, you could do that, but you will significantly increase your chances if you use your resume to address what each role is looking for. So we've got the 2 ads side by side here. The first role on the left is with Australia Post. And I'm going to skip down right now to hear what the opportunity is and what you'll be doing. So you're an inbound customer service consultant, and you'll be playing an important role in ensuring customers have what they want, so on and so forth. Let's look down to here. You'll be answering customer calls, using powers of deduction to track customers' parcels and solve issues like damaged or missing parcels. So straight away when I read a dot point like this, I'm thinking, problem solving. If I can get into my resume, one of my previous responsibilities involved a lot of problem solving and probably dispute resolution. That's going to carry a lot of weight. Dot point 2, putting to good use that knack you have for turning a tricky situation into a favorable experience. And dot point 3, helping customers with a range of different inquiries. There's then a section about you. But what we're particularly looking for is what are we going to be doing in the job? Because what we're going to be doing in the job, we want to show in our resume how we've done that really well before. So that's what I'll be doing for role 1. Let's look over to role 2 here. Customer service role, what you'll do. So let's have a look here. As a customer service officer, you'll support the delivery of the customer service center's administrative functions and provide high quality customer service to our clients, both in person and over the phone. So in that first role, it was only over the phone for customer service. This role is a combination. So one of the things I'll be mentioning in my resume on this role is that I have both face-to-face and phone-based customer service experience. You'll have a strong customer service background, attention to detail, and a high level of organizational skills. So they're actually telling you here in this advertisement what they want, and you can say that you've got this, if you do, on your resume. So I'd be picking up here particularly attention to detail. Where can you draw on in your previous role that you had a high level of attention to detail? They're also telling us here what they're looking for. We've got 4 dot points, but in particular, we can see Word, Outlook, and Excel are being asked for. So you must, for a role like this, you must mention in your previous duties and responsibilities or achievements, your usage with Word, Outlook, and Excel. Make sure at all times that you are matching your resume to that specific individual advertisements. I would really encourage you to apply for each role as if it was the only job you were allowed to apply for. How much thought and effort and care and tailoring would you put into that application if you could only apply for one single job? I guarantee you'd be doing it better than you are now. And that's the mindset that you need to approach it with. Let's go through the answers to the common interview questions. I get a lot of questions when I'm running workshops or speaking with candidates about certain aspects of their resume. So let's go through, the 4 or 5 most common questions. The first one is, how long should my resume be? My answer is, in many ways, it's up to you. I would say minimum 1 page, maximum probably 4. I really don't think there is any reason for your resume to be any longer than 4 pages. As we've said, 7 seconds is how long your resume is going to be looked at before the person continues to read on or not. So whether your resume is 1, 2, 3, or 4 pages long, page 1 is where all the focus needs to be. If I had to pick a number though, I would say 2 pages is the preference, but there's nothing wrong with 1, 2, 3, or 4. Should I include a photo of myself on my resume? Well, this can be a really controversial one at times. Should I include a photo of myself on my resume? Let me ask you the question. I have spent these 3 coaching episodes telling you that your resume needs to sell you. It's an advertisement for you. It has to promote you. It has to make someone want to employ you. Do you think putting a photo of yourself on your resume is going to do that? I can't answer that for you. You might be thinking, yes, I think it's going to help my chances. You might be thinking, no, I don't have a great photo. It is completely up to you. What you need to be aware of if you are putting a photo on, though, is that you are suddenly going to be judged on your appearance. People have unconscious bias. So whether or not they say they're going to judge you on your appearance or not, when they see a photo of you, unconsciously, they make assumptions about you in your mind. So if you put a photo on your resume, you need to be prepared that suddenly your visual appearance is impacting the decision. You might feel that's going to impact it in a good way. What I would recommend, though, is make sure it is a nice corporate headshot. Nothing fancy, nothing from a birthday party or watching the local football. It is a corporate headshot of you looking friendly, smiling, approachable from about here to about here, around here, like that. Let's look at the next common resume question. And it is, should I include references or academic transcripts? No. Unless you've been asked to. Sometimes I get a resume and it's 16 pages long because the person's included 3 written references and they've included 4 pages of academic transcripts. The employer will ask you for written references and academic transcripts if they need them. And if they do ask them, certainly submit them. But unless they're being asked, don't include them. You still can include your referee details, though, just listed on your resume, if your referee is comfortable and aware that you are doing so. And finally, do I need to include every job that I've ever worked in? My answer to this one is no. My answer to this one is certainly you don't need to include every job you've ever worked in. I would really focus most highly on your most recent role. The most recent role is the most important. And then we're going backwards in time over there. I wouldn't be spending too much time in roles that are more than 10 years ago, other than listing the company name and the job title. So we really want to focus mostly what have you been doing in the last 10 years. To be honest, the last 5 to 8 are the most relevant. If you've had a 35-year career, that's absolutely fantastic. But what you did back in the 90s is going to make no impact at all on how successful you're going to be in applying for a role now. So again, lots of details about your most recent jobs. And as we go further back in time, we drop it down to almost literally just listing that you worked for company X from 2000 to 2005 as a customer service representative. So in summary, I hope you've really enjoyed watching these videos around creating your own resume. There are some easy ways for you to make it really stand out. And once you've used this formula that we've shown you a couple of times, it's going to get much easier to replicate. You need to sell your skills, your experience, and your achievements. Nobody's going to know unless you clearly state it on your resume in a positive and persuasive manner. You need to make your resume easy to read. It's likely it's only going to be looked at for 7 seconds before the person decides whether or not to continue reading. It should be visually appealing, and it's okay to be bold. This is a document that is your personal brand. It is representing you. And finally, your resume must be tailored for every single role. If you've been applying with the same resume for lots of jobs, you've probably had not much success. But hey, now's the time to try something different. I guarantee you that will significantly increase your chances of getting a call if you follow my resume coaching.